allow you to make a realistic and informed decision about your career. You can start by asking them about their own career path. It will get the conversation off to an engaging and helpful start. Questions to ask include, what skills and personality traits are most important to this position? What difficulties have you found most surprising? Can you suggest any stepping stone positions that will allow me to gain the skills I need to be successful? And how do you see the industry changing in the coming years? By asking the right questions, you may get the answers you need to confidently search for your next job. With Your Next Job, I'm Stephen Greenberg.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning. This is Bill Krause on a Thursday morning, WGNS Roundtable. And we've got a crowd here this morning, and this is a happy crowd. We're very, very delighted and fortunate to have part of the family of the Murfreesboro City Schools. And rather than introduce everyone, I'm going to sit back and enjoy and turn it over to the Director of Schools for Murfreesboro, a gentleman that is an inspiration to students, an inspiration to parents, certainly an inspiration to teachers and staff, and an inspiration to this community. Dr. Trey Duke. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning. Thanks for having us here. It's always fun to come and spend some time with you. And we just appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about the great things happening in Murfreesboro City Schools.
And I'm going to vacate my chair so Lisa can have it. But I'll be here because I'll be coming back right before the 2 commercial spaces that we have throughout the hour.
Well, thanks, Bill. Again,
it's all yours.
Hey, I appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for having us here today and for giving us this opportunity to talk about the great things happening in our district. Pleased to be joined today with Lisa Trail, who is our Director of Communications, who makes us look good on a daily basis and makes us sound good. We're so glad to have you here, as well as having our Assistant Superintendent of School Operations, Mr. Don Barch, who again makes sure our schools run and do what they need to do. And thrilled to have a principal with us, Natalie Hardiman, principal of Reeves Rogers Elementary School, a great historic school here in the city of Murfreesboro that continues to do great things. So, Lisa, why don't you take it over?
All right. Well, let's start. I'm going to start with Natalie and talk about the first part of the school year, because that's what everyone asks as we walk in any door is, how's the school year beginning?
Exactly. Well, it's so exciting when we start the school year. We've got parents nervous and kids excited and teachers excited and nervous, right? Everybody's all so excited just to really get it started. But I talked to a couple of parents through the car line, every day, and I said, hey, how's the first 2 weeks been for you? And one of them said, oh my gosh, I was so nervous. I had such mixed feelings. I thought that I was sending a feral animal to Reeves Rogers staff, and I stayed next to my phone the entire time for like the first 3 days, and y'all never called. So I figured everything's good. And I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. They're wonderful. It just makes parents feel excited and able to be communicated with, that they can follow us on Class Dojo, and they can follow what their kids are doing. So,
well, and Reeves Rogers is one of our schools that's really seen a lot of growth in kindergarten this year.
Oh yeah.
So it's hard to drop off your babies.
It is hard to drop off your little kindergartners, but no one cried this year. Everybody wanted to come in. Everybody was so excited, and we were just thrilled to have all of our kindergartners join us.
Well, while we're talking about Reeves Rogers, sorry to interrupt you. I mean, it looks different right now. It's a big construction zone going on. So I would like Dr. Duke or Don, who wants to talk about this construction outside of this?
No, I was just I'll let Don talk about construction. I was just gonna say, I think when I hear Ms. Hardman talk about kindergartners coming in, not crying, ready to go. And again, it's okay to have some tears at kindergarten, but I think it's really just a testament to the culture of the school and a testament to the staff who takes care of those students and welcomes them and does such a great job with that outreach to make families feel welcome. But I will say, I've heard that kind of resonating throughout our district when we think about the start of the school year. It's just been such a fantastic start. I've been in school after school, and I hear from school administrators and principals about what a smooth start it's been, what a calm start it's been, and really how we feel like we just kind of continued on from last school year. So we are just really pleased with, again, just a great start to the school year. And I think that really goes into the fact that we have teams like our maintenance team, our custodial team, our professional development team that did everything we can to make sure the schools are ready to go on day one. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, I think having those open houses that same week as well helps a lot because parents are able to go in, they meet their teacher, they know where their classroom's going to be. A lot of our schools just don't have the capacity to allow children to be walked to class. So you see those teachers greeting them at the drop-offs, and it makes a big difference just to know what your teacher looks like and that they're smiling and everybody's happy. And honestly, it was really, everybody did look happy to be at school. I got to experience Reeves the first few days as well, and they were just happy to be there. So, but Reeves is one of our older schools, and we love it because it's actually my community school as well. Talk about what we're seeing right now, Don.
Well, we're seeing, first of all, I have to compliment Ms. Hardiman and her staff and the parents for the adjustment that they're having to do, because it's a major construction project. It's a 4,000 square foot administrative addition right in the front of the school. You know, sometimes additions are in the back and we can kind of do things, but this is right in the middle, and they've transportation, maintenance, the contractors. It's been a team effort, and it's going to be a beautiful addition. We're going to be updating the whole front of Reeves Rogers, so it's going to be exciting to see that. It's going to be about a year. So a little less than a year from now, we should be moving in, and Ms. Hardiman and her team will be moving into where it's going to be the front entrance. Security is going to be helped out. Everything involved with adding 4,000 square feet. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, so we have a new nurses station. Some of the other key elements in that 4,000 square feet has some counselor rooms, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. When we think about this addition, we're really kind of thinking about things that we're doing now in schools that we weren't doing when Reeves Rogers was originally built many, many years ago. And it really, a lot of it's going to be for our parents and our families. So that new front office, if you've been to Reeves, you know, if you come in to meet with the teacher, to even just check your child out, there's not a lot of space for families to come in, and that's really going to be resolved with this new building. So the new addition, so a much larger office area for families to wait comfortably, a new conference room for when we need to have meetings with families or with teachers, where families can feel comfortable, not crammed, and it's going to be the new nurses stations, new counseling rooms, again, just some space to kind of breathe. And what it's also going to allow us to do with the older part of the building where the office currently is, rework that for some new teacher work areas and collaboration areas. So again, we're really excited about adding this on, and again, for the community's really going to see it. The community that's in Reeves Rogers is going to feel it when they walk in that door.
Yeah, one of the other things that's getting added at Reeves Rogers is a playground, sport court. So I know that you have been instrumental in that, Mr. Barch. So if you want to talk about, because it's not just there, it's 5 schools.
Yes, this is the third year of a grant that Murfreesboro City Schools was awarded for the diabetes, the grant. And then so we're going to be resurfacing the tennis courts, and there's going to be basketball courts, pickleball, Foursquare, all kinds of, but that whole place is going to get a whole new surface, which will be very exciting for the community. We've already seen it at Discovery School, Cason Lane, Siegel, and then we will get one also at Mitchell Nilsson. But those, as soon as they were finished at those other schools, the community just got very, very active very quickly on those new surfaces.
I use the one closest to me.
Yeah.
Well, I joke, I drive by Cason Lane quite a bit because of where I live, and I cannot drive by Cason Lane on a weekend without seeing that sport court with the basketball goals and the tennis court really packed with families. And I think that's what's so exciting is really those courts had really become almost unusable. And so for us, not just to resurface them, but to add the basketball, add the pickleball component to it, has really made it a usable space for the whole community. And man, it's a lot of fun.
Yes, and we should be hitting the ground with Reeves Rogers here this fall.
Yeah, and again, we call it community. It's community after we don't have school.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah,
It's
right.
not community between 6 and 6 Monday through Friday, but after 6 and on those weekends, please come and join us on the playgrounds, because it is a community playground and it's like a park. Especially if you live around those schools, it's your park. So as long as we're not in school, we want other people enjoying those as well.
And I would say I want to give a huge shout out to our coordinated health team, our coordinated school health team. Autumn DePriest is our supervisor. She's been really instrumental in this. And a couple years ago when they brought this grant, and they were so thrilled that they had won this grant with the Diabetes Foundation to resurface them, I knew it would be great, just a physical facelift to those courts. Like I said, that really become almost unusable. I never dreamed that the community would be using them as much as they are, and so it's a great investment of funds.
Who knew we were ahead of the pickleball
That's
trend?
right.
Bring your own net if you're playing pickleball.
That's true. Okay, so other things going on. One of the things we talked about so much last year was transportation, because we were just so short. But I do know the transportation team worked really hard. We've had to do some new bus routes, some new ways of going about transportation this year. But overall, I'm going to let Ms. Hardiman and Mr. Arch, if you want to check, just you can finish it out with that.
Okay.
But I mean, so what are you seeing in your school right now?
Sure. So we have probably half of our schools bus riders, and it's just flowing so well. It's so well. Every one of our bus drivers has an assistant on the bus, and so that helps out too. We, on the first day of school, what are we trying to do? Figure out who they are. Who's our bus driver this year? Who's the assistant? And they play such a big role in our kids' lives. As soon as they get on the bus, they're greeting them. And that's what they see first, right? You think the school building's what they see first, but it's not. It's those bus drivers. And so they know our kids really well, and they check on them, and they ask about their day, and they ask about their grades, and they ask about what they learn, and they absolutely love it. So we're doing great with bus right now.
And we are, as far as the city is concerned, we're in a pretty good spot. One of the better spots we've been in several years as far as the number of drivers. It's been a group effort to get those drivers, and I really appreciate Brian and Robin and their staff, the recruiting, and those bus drivers really pushed through for many, many years, working a lot of hours, driving a lot of routes. We still need bus drivers, so please apply if you're interested, or reach out to Brian Rome. But it's been a big, one of the better starts to the year in probably half a dozen years with our drivers, and we've got good numbers, and things are really flowing quite well.
Well, and it wasn't just hiring new drivers. You did a lot of work this summer as far as routing and making some changes in those routes. And sometimes those are a little bit difficult for some parents, and we realize that. But we have to do what, you've been very strategic in where those stops have been, and our walkers, and just really having that support of transportation and all of us being on the same page. So kudos to you and your team for really working hard this summer on that.
Well, and I do thank you, but I do have to say that the routing team, which is Brian Rome and Rob and Doug, and there's a lot of people that go into it. And what I'm proud of most is that we do have a computer that works and helps us, a software that helps us. But they take what is generated by the computer, and then it's man-made. And they've all driven those routes, all those people working on that route. They know the neighborhoods all over because of the last few years. And so when they have selected a stop or designed a route, it's been on experience. And that's what has been, I think, one of the biggest things is we just didn't go on what the computer said.
Right.
I think if I could add to that, from a district perspective, transportation is so critical. We have seen year over the year for the past 3 years our number of riders increase, which means more parents are depending on buses. They need buses, and we're seeing that displayed in the number of students we transport every day. And I think from a district perspective, what we want to offer families is that consistent transportation. I have 2 boys in school. We depend on bus transportation. I work, my wife works, we need it. And we know what happens when we, as a family, get the message that, hey, the bus is going to be delayed, or in the really unfortunate situation if we have to down a route. We understand that has real impacts on families. So our goal is to provide consistent transportation that families can rely on. And we've been really good at doing that over the last few years because of our transportation team, because of the work they put in there. But that is one of the reasons why we had to make some of those changes this year. Some of those bus stop changes, the bus route changes, the walking zones. It's so we can continue to meet our big goal, which is reliable, consistent transportation every day. So even though we're doing great, as Don said, we're still looking for drivers. And I think what's really exciting, Don, is not only can you come, will we train you, but we can test you. We can take someone from, I think I want to be a driver, to putting them on a bus, all in Murfreesboro City Schools.
That's correct. And that's, again, that team working on and committing to that, to our program, which is going to end up in ultimately helping the community.
Yeah, and great sign-on bonuses, great retention bonuses for our bus drivers. So we can do all of that in-house, which is just fantastic. And that's a shout out to, again, Don and the transportation team for making that happen.
Okay, so Dr. Duke, we don't just need bus drivers.
That's right.
I'll let you talk staffing.
Yeah, and, well, I'm thrilled. We have all of our certified teaching positions filled, which is huge. I mean, it doesn't take much to turn on the news to hear a story about bus driver shortages, transportation issues, teacher shortages across the state and really across the nation more than anything else. But I'm thrilled that we have a fully staffed teaching staff right now, and that's just a testament to our HR team, how hard they work, recruitment, our partnerships with organizations like MTSU, who's been so good to partner with us to get early career teachers into our buildings. But we are always looking for those. We know it takes more than just teachers to run a school district. It takes bus drivers, it takes school nutrition, it takes school nurses, it takes our maintenance crew, our lawn crew, EAs. So we still have some openings right now specifically for some educational assistants who may want to be interested in working with students with disabilities and students who are more fragile and more at risk. So we have some educational assistant opportunities there. And of course, we're always looking for substitutes because our teachers are fantastic, but they do get sick every once in a while. So we need substitutes. And this year we actually have two different types of substitutes. We have your traditional substitute position where you get called on a day to go to a school in need. And we've also added what we're calling permanent substitutes this year, which are substitutes that only serve one building and we guarantee them a certain number of days in that building. And we have a couple of those open as well. So that's great for families who want to be on the same schedule as their children, can come to school with their children, leave with their children, stay in that building. Great opportunity to just kind of, again, be there and in the school day in and day out. Of course, we also, besides having competitive pay for our substitutes, we also have bonuses on Mondays and Fridays if you can sub for us on that day or days before a holiday. Looking at that. So this Friday, for instance, it's before a 3-day weekend. It is a Friday, so we have some additional money you can earn that day if you sub for us. It's a great opportunity, but reach out to us and we'll be happy to help connect you.
I'm going to let you give a plug for maintenance techs that we're looking for as well, Mr. Bartz, because I know we have some opportunities to work with our great group of maintenance guys.
Yes, and everybody works really hard at all their jobs, but especially in the city schools. But our maintenance department, they get called out in the middle of the night for emergencies and on the weekends, but we do have several openings, just a general maintenance technician. They're for a building, so you help out with the team, but you could be assigned to a building, and then we have people that change light bulbs and change filters, and that's their job, which is you get to go to all the schools and interact. And I gotta tell you, one of the best things, I've been in construction in and out all my life, and one of the best things about working with schools is getting to interact with teachers and students while you're doing your maintenance job, and then you realize what that goal is you're helping those kids out and you're helping those teachers out. So you can reach out to our maintenance department or HR department. We'll get you in there. We have several openings in the maintenance department.
I hope you all enjoying this wonderful visit from part of the Murfreesboro City School District family, led by Dr. Trey Duke. And we're going to take a break, and then we'll be getting back with a second segment. But I'm going to at least throw a question out, talk about sometime during the period of time, parent involvement and even grandparent involvement. I got to look at it from that point. So how do you get your folks involved, not just dropping the kiddies off to school or going to a PTA meeting or what have you? How do you get them involved? We'll be right back.
Are you tired of feeling like just another number with your insurance provider? At Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, Agent Rick Hall prides himself on offering personalized service that puts you first. Every client's needs are unique. From personal home and auto coverage to tailored business insurance, Rick Hall's got you covered. Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, where you're more than just a policy number. You're a neighbor.
All right, guys, it's Scott. If you're feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out now. At Low T Center here in Murfreesboro on Medical Center Parkway, they make it easy to get your levels checked. And with their on-site lab, you'll get those results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized therapy, or TRT, for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results. And most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come into the office for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. Yep, you can lose weight. Get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
I've got pets. AmeriCare is Rutherford County's #1 choice in pest control, and it's simple to see why. After calling 893-7111, their staff came to my house 8 years ago when I had an insect problem. They looked at the situation, showed me the areas and what they'd recommend to resolve the problem. After treatment and with quarterly checks, I'm bug, critter, and creepy crawly free. Thanks, AmeriCare.
Call the best of the best to get rid of your pest.
AmeriCare, 893-7111.
WGNS encourages you to patronize our local family businesses. Don't forget Hummingbird Day is over at the Wilderness Station. It's not this Saturday, but the next one, Saturday, August 31st. It starts at 7:30 that morning. That's Saturday, August 31st at Barfield Crescent Park. People have been asking about the Parkinson Support Group. They meet on the first and third Friday of each month, 10 o'clock in the morning, at the St. Clair Street Senior Center. That's the first and third Friday of each month. Tickets are going quickly for Live in the Borough. This is the great talent show that Greenhouse Ministries offers each year. And this year it's at MTSU, right there in the Student Union Ballroom. It'll be Tuesday, September the 10th, 6 o'clock in the evening at MTSU. Dinner and live entertainment. The tickets are on sale on their website, greenhousemin.org. And that's September 10th. Oh yes, Arsenic and Old Lace wraps up this weekend at the Center for the Arts in Uptown Murfreesboro. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Mostly sunny skies ahead for us here this afternoon, high around 101. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 73. Friday, a slight chance for showers and storms, a high of 98. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 78.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric, who offers energy-saving tips during the hot summer months. Change your HVAC filter once a month for more efficient operation. For more tips, go to mte.com/myenergyplan.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Hello again. This is Bill Krause on the Thursday morning WGNS Radio Roundtable, and we're having a wonderful visit with the men and women that make education not only quality and enjoyable and beneficial, but truly one of the greatest resources for community, state, and nation. And we have with us, sitting immediately to my left, Dr. Trey Duke, who is, how long have you been director of schools here?
This is year 4.
Oh,
I know,
wow.
it's gone fast. It's gone fast.
Time goes by fast when you're having
busy.
fun. No, having
fun and busy, yes.
Well, let me give it back to you and your wonderful right arm, Lisa, and I want Lisa for a moment to talk about her long-time affiliation with WGNS way back and what radio was like. I think I'd love to see another person who also was working radio when you were going to college. Lisa, back to you and Trey and the other lady and gentlemen. We'd love to have you here.
How far? Lisa, can we ask way back? What way back? Do you want way back, or?
It was back when families sat around and listened to the radio.
The fact that I'm the
fireside chat.
The fact that I'm the oldest one sitting around right now, I don't need that to be brought up. But yes, I did start in radio.
What music?
Yeah,
you referred to what era of music?
I worked at WGNS when we were oldies. So it was it was before the talk radio came in. So that was a long time ago, and it was during my college.
They're considered oldies now. So
it was okay. It was in the 80s, so it was more of the 50s and 60s music at that time. But thank you for that, Bill. I appreciate it. Bart was one of my first employers, and he was so good to me. So with that said, let's talk about getting our community and our parents and grandparents in our schools. Natalie, I want to start off with you, and because we do have a couple of big events coming up. So if you want to just talk about that from the Reeves-Rogers perspective, that would be great.
So the second week of September is always Grandparents' Day, and I get so excited about Grandparents' Day because at Reeves-Rogers we have a grandparents breakfast, and last year I want to say we had around 350 grandparents show up, and we had families show up with shirts with their kids' names on it. We had a photo booth option, everything. It was just absolutely wonderful. So we will be running that again. We will be inviting our grandparents in, but we are always excited to have grandparents, aunts, uncles, families, anybody involved in our kids to make sure that they're learning at home as well. One of the other things we have coming up is Reading in Schools Day with Read to Succeed. We have that coming up, I think it's September 13th.
That's right.
And so we'll be inviting lots of community members, and that includes family members, to come in and read to our kids, and that's at every school. So if you are interested in reading at your kid's school or any school that's near you, just reach out to the school, and I'm sure they'll get you in at a time slot with multiple classrooms or just one, however many you want to read to.
There's really nothing better than reading to a group of kindergartners,
right? Nothing better, because they just eat every word you say.
That's right.
So, and it's really nice to see, because every school can do it a little bit differently. Read to Succeed is something we do, a reading in the schools day is across the district. So reach out to Read to Succeed if you want to be a volunteer and come in our schools, because I know it's not only our schools, but it's also the county schools doing it as well. So lots of opportunities if you want to be in a classroom coming up.
And can we give a shout out to Jolene with Read to Succeed?
Absolutely.
She has been such a great community partner with us. Of course, she is a former Murfreesboro City School employee, so I like to throw that on there. But she's doing such great work in the community, not just with our students, but with our families, with families who are working to learn English as their residents here in Murfreesboro. Just a great community partner, and we're so proud of what she's done. So I just want to say shout out to Jolene, and thank you.
She's amazing. She's amazing. We also have a new initiative this year called Parent University.
Yes.
And that was something that you really pushed last year to say, let's figure out how we can do more to really help our parents be involved in children's education. So you want to talk about a couple of things?
Yeah, I do. The Parent University is something we've been talking about for a while. What we know is that it takes great teachers to help students learn. And we also know that parents are not only the first teacher their child will have, but parents are the most important teacher their child will have. And so that knowing that parents are that first and most important teacher, we wanted to make sure that parents felt equipped to help their children at home, to help their children who may be struggling or who may be doing really well and need to be advanced. So our communications team under Lisa's department and her team have really taken this to heart and are going to do some great things with our parent universities. We had a first one for kindergarten families back in August. How many kindergarten families did we have?
We had over 200 kindergarten families.
200, just talking about what does school day look like for a kindergarten? How do you prepare for that big transition to school? But we have 2 more in September and all throughout the fall where we'll be talking about how do you help your child at home with reading? What is some of these math programs that our students are using, and how do you understand those? We'll be doing a lot of those virtually online, so you can join through Zoom. but we'll also have some, I think, at Lineball Library as well. But really, it's an attempt for us as a district to say, one, we understand and we value the role you as a parent have in supporting us in the school, in helping us work with your child at home. And so we want to make sure that you have the skills needed to do that. And so we're really excited about them. And it's been, like I said, the first one in kindergarten was a huge success. I know the next ones will be as well.
I am so excited because it actually lets our, our folks come together. Not only are we getting some business leaders to teach, but we're taking our specialists and letting them teach, like, iReady. You know, is there really a new math, or are we just saying it a little different than maybe what you grew up saying it? I think it's the same, but we say a few new words for them. So having those like Miss Oliver, who is over our math program, come and just talk to parents about, okay, this is what we're doing, so they can understand when the homework comes home what it's looking like. Having our reading specialists talk about how do you help your child at home, so that they're using the same words and language skills that we're using in the classroom. So we're very excited about this, and it just allows that opportunities for parents to really come in and get engaged. We do a lot of that during the school, at the schools too, like during like the STEAM walks and everything. We're telling them and showing parents what we're doing during the day, and I think it really does help parents to be engaged and to know what their child is talking about.
You know, and I think one of the things when I look back on the pandemic from a few years ago, and we were forced to move things at home, I think it really opened a lot of parents' eyes to, for my own self, and I work in education, but with my two boys, about, wow, what our teachers are having to do. What we know is the research around learning and how we as adults learn, that changes and that grows. And we know more about what it takes for a child to learn now than we probably have ever known before. And so when we know better, you do different things. So these parent universities are a way of saying, hey, here are the things you can do that research will say is going to help your child at home. And it may be different than what your parents did with you, but that's okay because we know more now. And so we want to make sure we're changing and adapting to that.
Well, our skill set needs to change. And so that's what we're doing on a regular basis. But sometimes parents don't get that full advantage. So this is what that's for. Also, robotics is coming up. I'm so excited to say that all of our schools are participating in robotics this year. Another way parents can be involved is during those robotics teams or watching that competition. I'm going to let whoever wants to talk about robotics, because I'm so excited about it. Just having it in the school. So Natalie, I actually heard your robotics team talking this morning when I was at Reeves. So
were they not so
They were so excited.
So they had their second meeting yesterday after school, and the teachers, we were in the workroom this morning, Lisa and I were, and the teachers who ran it came in and they were like, did you see what they did? I mean, they were so excited about building their robots and getting ready for the competitions that we have coming up. So we every school has a robotics team, and we run a Murfreesboro City Schools competition, right, to make sure that our teams are getting in with other schools. They can compete. They have to think on their feet. They have to, build their robots right there, have them do specific things. We have a robotics table with Vex Robotics. I think every school has that now. So they have robots that run by themselves, and then also robots that run from remote controls. So those are the two options that they have, and the kids work all year long to build their robots and prepare for those competitions, and they can even go up to statewide.
Yeah, and just like we were talking about the sports courts with grants, robotics, thank you Nissan Nissan Foundation for sponsoring our robots.
Yeah, this
makes a difference.
I think it's second year in a row that they've helped provide the funding for that, along with the City Schools Foundation. Again, great community partners. It's not inexpensive to run a robotics program, and so we are grateful for organizations like Nissan and the City Schools Foundation to say, hey, we see the value in this. Nissan knows that they will benefit in the long run when they have third, fourth, and fifth graders working on building and controlling robots at this young age, that they're going to reap the benefit of that. And so we really appreciate that investment. But Mr. Birch, I'd love to hear you talk a little about the competition piece of robotics, because I know this is something near and dear to your heart. And I was at Overall last year during the competition. I was blown away because it's so much more than just building a robot. You got to make them do stuff.
That's right, and the teamwork aspect of it is what's really important. And I think the spectators don't realize that is it just takes one small error, and it can really mess up the whole that specific 1 minute. You're also, what's important to remember when they're competing, when Murfreesboro City Schools is competing against these other schools outside of the district, it's actually against middle schools. And so that's and we've been doing well for the last, this will be our 3rd year of competing. So, but the competitions, they have a minute to do multiple things and multiple tasks that they have to complete, and then they have to hand off. So you can't, and 2 people have to do that 1 minute, and so it can't just be that one driver that's just amazing. And it can't be Jeff Gordon. It's got to be somebody that's out there. And so they switch, and it's really neat to see that teamwork and the strategy that's involved, because everything's about points. And when you got a minute, you got to try to figure out, where am I going to get my, bang for my buck?
I was going to say, it's all about those kids thinking on their feet, thinking in the moment, because they have to make quick decisions and change up what they're doing if it's not working. That's right. And I think when Dr. Duke got to see it at Overall Creek last year, you can kind of see the amazement on the parents' faces when they hear their kids talking about it. Oh, yeah, that's great. I'm proud of you. But then when they actually see it, it's like, wow, okay. All right, you weren't kidding.
Yeah. And I think that's the great thing about the STEM products that we do, as far as farm to school. Everything is more that hands-on, and it's outside the classroom, because we're doing so much inside the classroom. But getting outside the classroom is really a cool opportunity as well. But I want to go inside the classroom really quick. That's where I was trying to transition to. You want to talk about achievement, because in the end, what we're really doing is growing our community of tomorrow. So how did we do this year?
And I think we still have test data coming in. A lot of that is still embargoed from the state. We can't release some of that yet, and there's some stuff we haven't gotten yet. But what I can say is, once again, we're looking at continued strong performance from our schools. We continue year over year to outperform the state in both English language arts, or reading as it's mostly referred to, and our math. And again, that's a testament to our teachers. That's a testament to our school administrators who are prioritizing that instruction, and to a central office instructional team that is just one of the best in the state at helping make sure teachers are prepared. So we are excited about what we're seeing. We're excited to see that growth. Personally, I'll continue to say I'm very excited about our literacy scores and our reading scores. It's been a priority for me since I took over this job, and for the 3rd year in a row, we've seen year-over-year literacy increases, and it is not a low bar that we're asking students to pass. Many of our listeners may be aware of the 3rd grade retention law that's been in place now for 2 years. I'm thrilled to say this year we've once again found a promotion pathway for every 3rd grader whose parent wanted that child to go on. We found that pathway to them. We have great tutoring programs. We have great academic programs. So we're really, again, embracing this idea of meeting both the academic needs of our students, and those non-academic, more extracurricular activities, to make sure they have a pathway to feel known at school.
And I think that goes regardless of whether we're talking about Reeves Rogers, one of our smaller schools, or Overall Creek, one of our larger schools. You walk in, you see the same. We're same quality instruction.
And we're such a diverse district, and I think sometimes people may not understand that when you think about how large our city is. And I say we're very diverse in our student demographics. Our student demographics continue to become more and more diverse every year. We're diverse in the size of our schools. We have smaller schools, whether it's Discovery or Bradley, that may have around 330, 340 students, to on the west side of town, overall Salem scales with 1,000 students in it. So we really have to be, as a district, intentional in how we meet the needs of these very diverse schools. We have schools that would be considered probably more inner city schools. We have more suburban schools. Again, it's a great recruiting tool, because we tell people, if regardless of what type of school you want to teach in, we can find it for you in Murfreesboro City.
We have that pre-K through 6th grade. We have it. Right. So any other thing that you really want to talk about? Maybe some accolades, because we actually just went to the state. You were at the state Friday night at a dinner recognizing Lauren Fluharty.
Yeah, so great organizations are made from great employees, and we're only as good as the staff that we hire, and we are just thrilled to once again can see our teachers and our staff be recognized. So this past Friday night, I was at an event with the State Department. Lauren Fluharty, who is a 5th grade teacher at the Discovery School, was awarded a finalist for the Presidential Award for Excellence in Science and Math Teaching, which is the highest federal award that is given for excellence in teaching. And Lauren's not the only one that has that award. We have multiple educators in our districts who have won that while they've served for us. So we're very excited about that. Kathy Presnell, who is our reading specialist in 3rd through 6th grade, she is currently a finalist for Middle Tennessee Supervisor of the Year and Tennessee Supervisor of the Year. So we're very excited for her. And from a bragging standpoint, I'm very hopeful she gets it, because if she gets that Middle Tennessee Supervisor of the Year, which she's a finalist for, that'll be on the back of Mr. Barch last year getting Middle Tennessee Principal of the Year, and 2 years ago, Kim Inglis getting Middle Tennessee Teacher of the Year. So in all aspects, our teachers are being recognized and our employees for great work.
I think you really enjoy that banquet.
I love
every
it.
year you've been here, there's been someone recognized.
There's been somebody there. We got great staff in Murfreesboro City.
And we're about ready to take a second break, but when we come back from the break, if Dr. Duke just kind of give a refresher, number of enrollees in the school, projection of the future, next 5 years, are we rapidly growth, are we changing growth, and a shout out to the men and women who are on your board. The volunteer who goes on the legislative factor of public agencies. These are men and women that give a tremendous amount. But the thing that I would also like to see you all chat in the remaining portion of this morning's roundtable is optimism for the future, and how do you share that optimism with the young men and young women that are your responsibility? How do you give them hope? How do you give them a feeling that, well, tomorrow will be brilliant for us, not only financially, it may be just emotionally. So how do you create the spark of hope and happiness for all as a long-standing part? Well, we'll be right back from this wonderful visit with the Murfreesboro City Schools.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-690-0294. That's 800-690-0294. 800-690-0294.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
Support First Shot at Autumn at the Alley. It will be held at Saddle Woods Farm on Franklin Road in Murfreesboro on Wednesday, September 25th from 6 until 9 p.m. It supports First Shot STEM Academy and Academic All-Stars initiatives. The night is a fantastic event with unique tastings from various spirit brands and great wines and food from the Alley on Main. Top the night off with a fabulous silent auction. Go to firstshottn.org for more information and see you at Autumn at the Alley September 25th.
At Bud's Tire Pros, we sell all major brands of tires, and we invite you to stop by today for that next set of tires. Or maybe you need us to check out your vehicle before you head out of town. We offer everything from brakes to batteries, alignments, and more. No appointments necessary, just stop on by.
I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Everywhere you go in this area, you see beautiful brick mailboxes from LaGreen's Masonry. Visit their website and see their variety. LaGreensMasonry.com. A family business you can trust. LaGreens Masonry.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Bill Krause, the third final segment of the WGNS Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And before I turn it back to Dr. Duke for a couple of items and then his wonderful team, I also would like to extend publicly an invitation that let's do a Murfreesboro City School every quarter and bringing different members of your wonderful team with you and get a different dimension. It isn't just a teacher teaching. It isn't just a bus driver driving. It isn't just a staff person counseling or assisting. It's a tremendous effort and a tremendous dedication. And I think, as you briefly mentioned and we talked off the air, I am so inspired and encouraged of my students to see how many are planning to make education their journey of life. And I think, and you know, I will deliberately ask them, we have a phone call. You have a phone call. All right, I guess we've got a caller. So welcome, caller, and I will turn it over to Dr. Duke and then back to Lisa, and we'll be wrapping up the show.
Hey, you're...
Well, good morning. Good morning, everybody. How's the world treating all of you?
Well, we're doing pretty well today. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing well, too. I just want to call and say, you know, you've got the best of the best sitting right up there with you right now, Dr. Duke, and it is a wonderful school system, and we're all so proud of what everybody does.
Thank you for that. And for those listening, I think we're speaking, or I know we're speaking here with Mr. Butch Campbell, who is the chairman of our school board. And you are right, Mr. Campbell. We do have the best of the best in Murfreesboro City Schools. And I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to say thank you to your leadership, and to the entire board. We have a fantastic school board who cares about students. We're excited for the future. Of course, we're losing one of our school board members, Mr. Wes Ballard, who's made the decision to retire after 8 very effective years on the board. And we're excited to welcome Miss Jeanette Price, our newest school board member, who will be sworn in September. It's going to be a great meeting.
It is going to be a good meeting, and we will miss Wes, but we welcome Jeanette. And yes, sir, you do have a good board. It's a well-working board, and we've also got a wonderful supervisory staff out of the central office, and principals and teachers and custodians. We've just got a great school system, Trey.
We really do, and I don't go a day without giving my thanks for being in a district that cares so much about students. And I think one of the things that is so special about our school board specifically is their involvement. They're not afraid to talk to parents. They're not afraid to take hard questions. They're not afraid to pick up the phone and call people, and I think that really just shows the commitment to the community, and that it does take so many people to make sure that we have a system that serves the public, and that's what we want to do. We want to serve the students of this district, and that's from our school board all the way down to our teachers and custodial staff and principals and everyone in between.
Well, it takes an army to run a good boat. Now we've got it.
That's right. Thank you so much for calling, Mr. Campbell.
All right. Thank you. Enjoyed listening.
Okay. I always love hearing from him.
Yeah. You know, he's been such an asset to our district for so long, and he's been on our board for so long, and it's nice to work with people who truly care about the work that we're doing and Absolutely. Just want to see us succeed, and their mission is to help make sure we succeed, and we know we succeed when our kids succeed and when our students succeed. So I am very thankful. I know our principals are, I know our central office staff is, for a board that just truly embraces the work we do.
So before we went to break, Bill had asked you about just our numbers and how we're growing, or what our enrollment looks like. So I'll let you go ahead and address that.
Yeah, Natalie, so you've added an additional, kindergarten at Reeves Rogers?
From last year, yeah.
Yeah, so we're up. So
we are up in kindergarten for sure.
So district-wide, we're seeing really some really constant numbers. So our enrollment is pretty steady with where we ended the year last year. Last year, interestingly enough, we didn't see that traditional growth over June and July. Most of our growth actually happened really from about the end of September until the end of the calendar year in December. So we grew about 2% last year, but that growth came at that non-traditional time. So we're watching that really closely. Of course, a lot's changing in education. We have great private schools in Murfreesboro. We have some new charter schools in Rutherford County. So there's a lot of options there that we're looking at. So as our community grows, our goal is to continue to provide the best education for every student we have, and I feel confident we're doing that. But again, really kind of steady with our projections this year. Glad to have our students in. We are now 15 campuses with our Cason Lane Pre-K building. And when we think about almost 9,500 students that we serve, we're getting close to that 10,000 student mark of students. We are not a small district. We are the 20th largest district in the state of Tennessee. There are 145 school districts, and we rank number 20 just pre-K through 6th grade. So we're growing. We're continuing to watch that growth and continuing to do all we can to meet the needs of our students.
Yeah, I think some of the surprises we had this year when we came back is Black Fox has had a huge growth. Reeves has had a huge growth. Irma Siegel is seeing a lot of growth. So that's coming different than what we've seen for the past 3 or 4 years at the overall Creeks and Salems. Now, they're still growing.
Yes.
They're still growing. That community is still growing. But to kind of watch it go across the district, and we're really trying to do the best we can to utilize the facilities that we have. Hopefully we did not do any zoning this past year. And that's nothing that we take lightly.
No, and it's something we're watching. We don't like to do that unless we absolutely have to do it. And it's really a little bit of a trying to look at where our numbers are right now and then where we have growth coming in the future. You know, Black Fox is an area that we have our eye on. We know there's a lot of homes coming out to that Black Fox area. It is a fantastic school. All of our schools are fantastic. Absolutely. But Black Fox year over year continues to show really high achievement scores, a really great school culture. People want to be in that school, and that's great, but we also have to accommodate that. So right now there's no immediate rezoning plans, but it is something we're keeping our eye on to, again, like you said, make sure that we are maximizing the buildings we have first before we look at any additional buildings.
And I think that's what, if you have been around a while, you saw that we opened that new addition at Black Fox about 8 years ago. And the same thing is what we're doing for Reeves. So trying to utilize every space we can and adding on when that's possible. One of the things we do get asked about a lot is, do y'all have security plans in place? And right now we're in the middle of drill week.
That's right.
So if you've seen a lot of police and fire action in our schools, it's because we're doing drill week. And we found in the past years it works really well for us to do it all 1 week. Parents are expecting it. Our schools are expecting it, and they get to drill on everything from fires to any other kind of outside disturbance.
Yes, and it's been. I spoke with the supervisor of safety and security, Andy Taylor, yesterday. He's keeping me up to date on it, and the drills have been great. And they also have been what drills are meant for, to see where, you know what, maybe we need to fix this, or maybe we need to do something a little different. I'm really appreciative to the collaborative nature we have with the Murfreesboro Police Department and their school safety division. The SROs, we're blessed with having SROs at every building. They're building that program so that when they're sometimes they're out and they need a sub, and so they have enough staff that we're right now we're covered 100% of the day, of the school day, and so and one of the things of drill week is, you know, what I appreciate Mr. Taylor for is his bridge between MPD and the schools, and how the different types of security and safety that we can do, so that what ultimately is what's keeping our students safe. And that's the goal.
And I think that's what we will always want our families to know, is that is our number one priority, right? We want to keep our students safe. Mr. Barch talked about that strong partnership with MPD, which, again, we just are so thankful for. We don't go into a lot of details about our school security plans because there's a reason why. But I will say, over the last 2 years, our school board has made a significant investment of funds, both from our general purpose funds through grant dollars, to make sure that our buildings are secure. There were several things we had on 3-year plans that we did some reinvestment and got those done in a year to better secure our buildings. And we feel good about where we are, and we want our families to know that we take school security very seriously. And Mr. Taylor, who's our school security supervisor, just does a fantastic job with that eye on safety, so that our teachers can be focused on instruction and our principals on leading the building.
And it's not just those SROs that are in our building all the time. Our Murfreesboro Fire Department, they are in our buildings.
That's right.
They are helping teach classes. They're there for the kids. I think the EMA, we have to give them a shout out anytime we need any help with drills and stuff. They're with us as well. So just that relationship and that partnership that's established before there's any crisis makes a huge difference in the comfort level for all of us, I believe.
Yeah.
So Andy is great. Once again, looking for our maintenance if you want to come on board. I think our next guest should be our maintenance director, and we'll try to like stump Mr. Williford because I think he knows everything about Murfreesboro City Schools.
Everything.
Every
Yes,
nook
he
and cranny
does.
of every building that we have. So that's what we'll try to do.
Larry does a great job, and so does Brandon.
They
They're a
absolutely
fantastic
do.
team.
So I'll turn the microphone over. Mr. Bill, you can close this out.
Thank you very much. You know, when you're talking about drill, there's one thing about getting older. Always have your memory and remember back to thoughts. You know, this is really going to date myself, and maybe there's a few people out there that may remember. When I was in elementary school, it was in the middle of the growth of the Cold War, and we were very fearful as a nation of nuclear attack by the Soviet Union. And every school had to go through the nuclear drill. The nuclear drill was if the teacher said drop, every child had to go under the desk and try to preserve. I don't know what good it would have done if you were in the middle of a nuclear attack, but I will never forget drop, and I can't say this in a laughing way, but I can remember a rather, I won't say overweight, a rather big teacher who dropped, went in her desk, under the desk, and could not get out, got stuck under the desk. So, you know, when you...
It's those kind of things you remember from school.
You know, what did I learn?
That's right.
And it's kind of interesting. One thing is AI at all, anywhere in the curriculum in K through 6, K through 5?
We actually our board just adopted a policy on the use of AI in our schools. There's a state law regarding that. Right now, mainly we're exploring it and using it with our staff and our teachers, how they use it to make their job easier. But I do think that day is coming. I think it's just important we do it. We don't rush into that, that we are responsive to it, and that we make sure, most importantly, as anything with technology, that there are guardrails for our students and guardrails for their data, so that we know our students are protected virtually. We want to not just make sure our students are protected in the real world, we want them protected in the virtual world as well. So that's something we always keep an eye
on. What's the normal class size?
In Murfreesboro City, we're sitting right at a 20-to-1 ratio. So we're really excited about that. So try and keep those numbers at a place where we can do good work with kids.
You know, I always remember my wife served as a teacher for 32 years in Southern California. And in the point that she was teaching, the class size was 32.
Yeah.
And you might have had a TA, a teaching assistant in the classroom, but not often. And I remember the voters of California voted for state lottery to be legal with the premise that it would reduce class size. And they did it for a couple of years, but class size, while it's not up to 32 back, it's still around 25, 26. So class size is so important.
What it's really about relationships. I think Ms. Hartman can kind of speak to this. We know that the foundation of learning is making sure we have a strong relationship with those students. And that's one of the aspects small class sizes help us do.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to make sure we end on is what the kids think, right? And when I went around and asked how the first 2 weeks go from kids, they said, I love my teacher.
Yeah.
I love my friends. I wanted to see who was in my class. We have a new teacher. I love her. You know, that's what it's all about, is building those relationships.
You know, I will always ask, I do a lot of teaching at the college level, and I will always ask, and I think you all get a kick out of this, I will ask the students, 17, 18, older students, and say, can you remember your most favorite teacher? Or can you remember a teacher that stood out the most? And once in a while, they'll say, I can remember a teacher that stood out, and I sure disliked her, you know, so forth. But most people have a memory of a particular teacher.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you all, Trey and your wonderful team and the men and women that are so dedicated. And I want the listeners out there to know that, yes, you read, yes, you hear criticism of public education. What are they teaching in the schools? And we're certainly not going to get in the controversy of school teaching or items or materials or what have you. But I do want to say, and having been here for a period of time now, it looks like it's growing, that the Murfreesboro City Schools is something that every resident, every parent, every individual in this community can be very grateful because it is one of the best resources that this community has. Trey, thank you very much. Thank you all, folks, for being with us. I am going to be sending out an invite that just shortly before you're ready for Christmas break. We do kind of a holiday. And we didn't even talk about how you talk about no school because of weather.
That'd be a great topic for December, I can tell you that.
Hopefully that you'll be here because we're not in a snowstorm. This is Bill Krause, the WGNS Roundtable Thursday morning. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will look forward to seeing you all next Thursday. Bye.